There's something, before we continue any further, I want you to clarify for me Gaza. We all remember October 7th and this little strip of land down on the seaside, southern Israel, is called Gaza. It has a horrible history going all the way back to the Philistines and the enemies of Israel. How do Jews look at Gaza and what happened there?
Well, that's a very good question. And the answer really is, I don't want to say it's simple because it's not simple, but the Jewish people are controlled today. It's changing, but the Jewish people are controlled by socialism, by communism, both of which believe in the solidarity of all the nations. And so, for example, Gaza Muslims, solidarity of all the nations, we have to love them. One of the reasons communism attracted the Jews so much in Russia and in Europe in general was because the hatred of the Jews in Europe was so endemic that the Jews said, you know what, why are we being persecuted? What did we do? We didn't do anything. Yeah. We're just being persecuted. So where did this come from? This came from God. And so God, the Bible, and Jesus Christ. That's what the Jews were saying. So the Jews said nationalism comes from all these evil things. So if you abolish God, this is the socialist communist ideology, abolish God, then all these horrible things will disappear. The problem was it didn't. The hatred always remained. And so a lot of these people who were communists, loyal communists, they believed in communism, they believed in the solidarity of all the nations. Then they moved to Israel over 100 years ago. And they said, well, you know what, if they hate us, okay, we leave. So we went to Israel to establish a communist utopia.
Oh, yes. And by the way, it was blessed. People marveled at the regathering of the 12 tribes. And what happened to Israel in like 1 century, it went from a barren wasteland to a thriving country.
Remember Mark Twain?
I do.
He said, if this is the promised land, I sure don't want it promised to me.
Yeah.
Because the land of Israel in the 1800s was so forlorn that Mark Twain traveled for a full 2 days, didn't see one human being. The country was empty. It was either swamps, malarial swamps, sand dunes, or bare mountaintops, because the Turks cut down all the trees. So anyway, so the Jews came back. They pulled their shirt sleeves up. They stopped with the religion. They stopped with Sabbath. They stopped with kosher food. They stopped with putting on phylacteries and prayer shawls and praying. There's no more God. So we are now in utopia. No more God.
Wow.
And
in other words, God was getting in the way.
Yes, but solidarity of all the nations. So we love the Arabs, and we love the Gaza Arabs, and we love the Judea and Samaria Arabs. And even if they kill us, we believe in solidarity of the nations.
Well, you know, Gaza goes all the way back to the Philistines.
Right.
In what we call the Old Testament as Christians. And the Philistines were a hardcore lot of people, just like today's Hamas.
Right.
Some things never change.
Correct. You know why?
Why?
The devil never changes. This is the devil. And, you know, I don't want to start talking like a preacher now.
That's okay.
It's okay. I'm in the right place.
You're in the right place.
We do not, we Jewish people say, oh, there's no devil. There's no devil. I have tremendous religious debates in Israel with my Jewish brethren. Yes, there is a devil. And God did not create us as robots. We have to choose. Are we with God or are we with the devil? So those who are with the devil, they are perfectly happy to abandon God and abandon everything that God told us, abandon Zionism. And so what happens is you have, surrounding Gaza, you have an area called the Gaza envelope. And the Gaza envelope is made up of towns and kibbutzim and moshavim, made up of people who are a very high percentage of them are socialists and communists. And they love the Gaza Arabs. And when the Gaza Arabs attacked on October 7th, it was a big surprise because the Jewish people were so socialist and so much believed in the solidarity of all the nations that all these terrorists were entering Jewish homes and working for Jewish people, and they knew every Jewish person in these communities surrounding Gaza. And they knew the Jews in order to kill them when the orders were given. It took 17 years. It was a perfect con job. We were told, give us the money and we'll build Gaza up and there will be no war. And little by little, we could see the intentions of the Gaza Arabs becoming worse and worse and worse. But the hardcore socialists still said, solidarity of all the nations. We have to love the Gaza Arabs.
Wow.
And then they came and killed 1,200 of our kids and 880 of our soldiers.
And we remember that it was a grievous thing. What I'm interested in, based on what you're saying right now, is how do those people, those socialists in southern Israel feel today? What are they doing? What are they thinking?
Well, that's a good question, and the answer is a little complicated, but I'll say in one sentence. A lot of these left-wing people have now become right-wing. Others are still left-wing, and they said, well, the Gaza Arabs made a mistake. They shouldn't have done all that kind of hatred. But the thing is, they still don't get it that there's God. And that the people who made all these pro-Arab decisions were anti-God. And those who love God are the Zionists. They're the ones who say, hold it. You know, that's not what we are here for. There are many, many people in the kibbutzim who have become right-wing. But there's a fight going on. This is a process for the people to wake up. And so it's kind of like the Holocaust. That a lot of people became anti-Christian because of what the Nazis did, but it wasn't the Christians who did it.
Right.
Hitler killed millions of Christians in World War II.
That's true.
I want to stress something very important, and that is the word called the concept. So, for example, the socialists who took over power in 1920, and don't forget, 1922, Mussolini becomes the leader of Italy, and the right-wing nationalist Jews all flocked to Mussolini because he was a nationalist. And this was the time of the beginning of the Jewish nationalism. But the communists and socialists hated us. And so all the right-wing people were kicked out of their jobs, exiled from the country. By the way, I'm in exile from Israel. I'm here in America. Who's taking care of me? The modern-day Egypt, which is America. I go back to Israel. I can't get a job. They said to me, we know your views. You will never have a job. I never got a job. So 35 years I've been with the Christians. And I'm always saying to my fellow Jews, you know what, you guys need to go to church on Sunday to get to know the Christians. You remember getting to know you, getting to know all about. So the Jews say, no, the Christians in America are no different than the Christians in Germany or Russia or the European countries.
Wow.
Which persecuted us. If you don't go to church in America on Sunday, you don't know how good these people are and how much they love us.
Well, we study Bible prophecy, and Bible prophecy tells us to love the 12 tribes because God has his hand on the 12 tribes and he has a future for them. And when we study Bible prophecy, we study about the future of Israel, as well as the future of Christianity.